Here we are. We are snakes. Yeah. Snakes in the studio. Aleksander Tiller. We have, I don't know, do you remember how that title came about?
So you sent me this really, really ugly ChatGPT photo of us as snakes, and you thought it was hilarious. And I think it was you and Judson joking around about like different name ideas, and you were thinking about snakes on the plane, right?
Yeah.
And then you just thought like snakes in the studio, and it's all S's. And
yeah, it does. The alliteration is there, which counts for something. And also just the idea that, like, at any moment, this whole drama could ensue where snakes are going through the vents and just kind of jumping into your session. I don't know.
Well, you know what I think is really cool about it? The abbreviation for snakes in the studio is SITS, which is what we do. We sit and we talk.
Man, that's so on point, dude. I'm very impressed, Alek. And that's why Alek is with Band Barracks, because he's so
impressive.
Guy. Alek, first things first, how do we meet? There's got to be a story here.
There we go. Yeah. So our love story, right? So basically, my best friend, his name is Jeremiah. He started renting a room here. Well, he was going to start renting a room here. And then he told me, he was like, hey, I want someone to rent with. This is a really cool idea. We can stop making music and bothering the other people in our houses, and we can go to an actual official space that is just for making music. It would be really awesome.
Yeah.
And he was like, I want to make my music. I know you want to make your music. And I was like, okay. So we both showed up, and at the time we had our friend Tony with us, super cool guy as well. We started like planning like which studio we're going to go through. He was calling you back and forth. I was calling a bit, and we rented studio. What was it, like 217 or something like that? The one,
yes.
Yeah. It already had that like kind of teared down vocal booth, but we rebuilt it a bit. And then we also, you can't glue stuff to the floor, but we figured out a way around it where we cut out a rug and just slapped the rug on there. The rug was cut out in the dimensions to where it basically was like a carpet. And we put some furniture in there. And I think you remember the studio, our studio looked pretty nice. Like
it was pretty on point. It's always great when folks get kind of locked in and set up. So what were your impressions of Band Barracks the first time you came by?
I'll say what I thought I was going to walk into before I walked into it. What I thought I was going to walk into was what I've already seen in all of the studios I've been to in Houston. You know, I've loved making my own music for a while, and there was actually a studio that I briefly for like 2 days worked at, like maybe about a year or so before Band Barracks. I expected there to be no security, no gates or anything. I honestly thought it would look like a storage unit box, because that's literally what it normally is. It's like a storage unit. And there would be like a couple of dudes just loud outside with smoke clouds everywhere. And yeah, and I was like, you know what? If it's what it takes to make music, right? And sometimes that's a fun environment, you know, like I'm not hating on it. When we pulled up, there was a gate, and he was like, yeah, you need to put in the code and then you'll get a key card. And I was like, what? Like, that's kind of cool. Like, that's a little bit different. And then there's a whole parking lot, which is nice, because normally when I go to the studio, it's not always in a very nice area, and my car is like, I have a muscle car and whatnot, and I don't want someone to steal it or break into it.
Is that what you call that thing?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Well, I hope yours doesn't catch on fire. No, but
I hope it does.
Yeah, me too. Just kidding. So I pulled in and I was like, wow, it's got its like own parking lot and everything. So like I was already feeling comfortable about it. I was like, okay. And then JJ told me, he was like, yeah, dude, they got a concession stand too. Like they've got snacks and a microwave and a fridge and whatnot. And I was like, this is really freaking cool. Like I actually kind of like, I was fantasizing it. And then I went up to the room and then we looked at it and we talked to you. And fun fact, I actually thought that your brother, because the first person I met was Cole. So I thought Cole was like in charge of Band Barracks. And you were just like some dude helping out. And it took me about like a whole year or half a year or so to realize like, oh wait, no, Curran is actually, because you kept getting on the phone more than anyone. And people kept saying, talk to Curran. I'm like, why did I talk to Curran? You know, and then like I realized like, I'm like, oh, Curran is the head of this. Like he's the big baller, the big dog.
You're just born the way you're born, you know, and so
there you go. That's why so like we all have red and gray. He's got the gold emblem because to show his ego.
Vanity. You know? Hey, I got my vanity plates, man. Alek. So one thing that's impressive about you, man, is you're actually a really good producer. Let's talk about your musical journey for a little bit. Like, how did you get into? What else are you into? I know your dad. I was kind of surprised to hear that your dad it plays in like a rock band or something. So I figured, like, how'd you get into like hip hop and not rock?
So when I was in elementary school, I was watching lots of YouTube, like as young kids these days do. I stumbled upon like two things. I stumbled upon Lil Wayne and I stumbled upon Epic Rap Battles of History, which is a really weird combination. But I started really falling in love with it. I liked the way like people would diss each other in rhyme, and I thought it was funny and I thought it was cool. In my elementary school, I used to sometimes get a timeout in recess where like
bet.
I'd get in trouble in class.
I bet that happened a lot.
Yeah. And I would be in timeout. And to be honest, timeout was more fun than actual recess.
What about the dunce cap?
The dunce cap?
Dunce?
Dunce cap? I don't know what that is.
Kids these days, man.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not a bronchosaurus.
Mr. Producer, do you know what a dunce cap is? Yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, I was not an old man, and so I didn't know what a dunce cap was. And I was in recess with all of the other kids that got timeout, which was more fun than being in actual recess because we would play games like the teacher wouldn't be looking, so we'd all try to do something while the teacher's not looking, and it would be really funny or whatever. And I started doing this thing where I would write these rap battles on my little flip phone. I had this Razer LG flip phone. Some people probably remember that one.
Yep.
I would write these rap battles between the teachers, and it would be something like Miss Chapman versus Miss Bootney or something like that. And I would write these rhymes that have to do with the teachers where they're roasting each other, and I would pretend to be the teachers, kind of like in epic rap battles where they like do like George Washington versus Abe Lincoln or whatever, and I would go back and forth as the teachers, and everyone at recess would gather around. Like they thought it was the awesomest thing. Everyone would laugh. Everyone would go, oh, it was so dumb. And I continued to do that throughout like middle school and sometimes even high school, where like in theater, we would get like an assignment to make your own play, and mine would just be like a joke between two of the people in my class or something where I'm mimicking everyone, and people always liked it. And that's when I started liking rap, and I started listening to a bunch of other rappers too. I eventually like started making other things besides just that, mainly comedy, but also rap, and I branched out a bit. I started really liking rock, so I got a ukulele and a bass. I like making like ukulele songs, sing songs, indie songs, rap songs. You start to realize like once you learn how to produce, you can kind of make whatever genre.
What year did you start actually producing?
It's weird to say start because I started badly producing in high school. It was just like Apple loop and then one chord on the piano and holding it down with an ARP or something like that. And it's like, you can get away with that.
That's
But-
arpeggio.
Yeah, arpeggio. But like,
Oops.
I feel weird saying produce for that. You know what I mean?
But everyone has their start, so that counts.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
counts, dude. That's like the building blocks, man.
Yeah. But like for production, I'd say honestly, these last couple of years is when I've actually started producing. I got my uke, and I was never like as good at producing as I was at doing like all the vocal stuff. But when I got a ukulele,
Yeah.
you start realizing like it's way easier to come up with a melody when you have an instrument. I don't know what it is, but like doing the instrument, just messing around on the instrument, you just find three chords that sound good together, and all of a sudden like it just sounds like you have a hit.
Yeah.
So like I recommend anyone who's just a vocalist and having trouble like finding a melody for a song, learn how to play any instrument. I feel like you kind of unlock a new world of melodies. So.
Yeah. I feel like I wish that I had pursued keys a bit more now that I'm doing more production and recording. And I have like a basic, skill level there. But it seems that with everything, a MIDI controller, just knowing the keys.
Play any
and how to
instrument
do
that way.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
just gonna say, I always kind of wish that they made a MIDI guitar that can plug in and play any instrument, so that way guitarists that aren't pianists can like do the same thing that pianists can do. You know what I mean? It's like, oh well, I only know how to play guitar, but I want to play violin. Well, like
Hey,
it'd be really
Yamaha,
cool.
there's your next product.
Yeah.
Let's go. Convert some of your manufacturing for it. Okay, so biggest influences then.
I'd say back then I really liked Jean Louis. He's this comedy artist that's like super inappropriate. But when I was a
Nice.
little kid, I just thought it was the best thing ever. And he would always make these like really satirical songs, which is why I'm so satirical now. I just love satirical music. It's so funny. I'm making a whole album right now, by the way, that's all satirical. And it's literally stuff like Don't Mess With Me or My Wife's Boyfriend Will Beat You Up, or like Beer Fetcher, My Future Son, stuff like songs like that. Yeah, I can't wait for that album. And that was mainly because of him. You know, obviously Epic Rap Battles when I was a little kid was a big deal. Lil Wayne was like my favorite rapper for a very long time. I would listen to Go DJ on the way to school on my iPod every day. Like I'd probably heard that song like 10 times a day. I would just replay it over and over again. I didn't have any subscription. That was back when you bought songs on Apple Music.
Yeah.
And I just bought Go DJ, and that was the only song I had on my phone or my iPod. And I would just play it on repeat and on the bus. And I would, you know how like you can lean your head on the window and like the window vibrates as you're riding the bus? I would do that, and I would have Go DJ playing over and over and over again.
It's amazing how older technology kind of changes and shapes us a little bit. Like something like that wouldn't happen. I remember when I was a kid, this goes way back. We had Terminator 2 stuck in our VCR. And
So you just watched that?
well, and now it's like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And it's really good. You probably don't even know what movie that is, do
Terminator
you?
2, I know what Terminator 2 is.
Have you seen it?
Yes, probably.
Oh my God.
But I will say my favorite inspirations now are Lou Bega.
Okay.
You know who that is?
Yes.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, it's the guy who made Mambo Number 5. He has a whole album in that time period of songs that are very similar to Mambo Number 5. It's like that vibe.
Okay.
And it is just like happy music. It sounds really full. And every time I hear it, like it's the only album all the way through that I'm in love with every single song. For a while when I was in high school, I liked Logic, but like his newer stuff is a little bit corny for me. I've always liked Lindsey Sterling.
Okay.
Yeah. I've always liked Kreayshawn, which is like kind of a weird one, but like if I'm feeling bratty, you know? And I mean, to be honest, a lot of my songs, like Lou Bega is the only person that I actually listen to every song. Oh, Fox Stevenson.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Fox Stevenson, he's a UK alternative drum and bass artist. And he makes like drum and bass where he sings over it like it's like alternative rock.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Plug. Y'all go out and listen to it.
Yeah, me and JJ have an inside joke that you are Fox Stevenson because like you kind of have the same vibe as Fox Stevenson. So we'll be listening to Fox Stevenson and JJ will jokingly be like, oh, I'm going to put on some Curran or something like that.
Oh, like literally? Oh, like damn. Damn. Okay, cool. Now I have to check this out.
Yeah.
Who's like, I'm being repped, you know. Mr. Producer, do you know who that is? No, Fox Stevenson.
Fox Stevenson.
Yeah, I don't.
He's more popular in the UK.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know anyone you've been talking about just now, man. No,
Yeah, I wouldn't
no
think so.
disrespect to all the wonderful artists out there, but it's like it is crazy too because you can have there are artists that are fairly big. They have a fairly big following, and they're just. I feel like back in the day, like the '80s, if there was a fairly large artist, you would at least know of them. But I feel like nowadays there can be an artist with a large following, and some people just won't even hit their radar. The algorithm, the whatever, it just doesn't get in their circle, which is unique and different. That's cool. Moving on, engineering. Alek, what made you want to be an engineer versus an artist, or is it even fair to say that you're choosing one over the other?
So, I mean, yeah, you're never choosing one over the other, but the reason why I decided to commit to one over the other is because, so when I was little, like, just like a lot of young people in high school and middle school and stuff, I was like, oh, I want to be a famous rapper or a singer or whatever, and I'm going to be...
Hey, man, that's still a great goal.
Yeah, it's still a great goal. Like, all respect to anyone who wants to, but I realized that there is a lot, especially in Houston, a lot of people to compete with. And there's this huge pile of people that you have to climb over to like win, you know, to like become famous, because not everyone can be famous or else no one's famous. Mm-hmm. And I realized I was like, man, that's really, really hard. And I'm like sinking money into that and whatnot. It's really difficult. But
why
you know
fame
what?
though? Why fame? Like, do you think it gives you the validation you're deeply seeking or something?
Ego is, I mean, who doesn't love their ego being fed, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Being able to say something and the whole world has to listen, I mean, hell yeah. But I ended up choosing to be an engineer because I realized I'm like, wait, I have these skills now, because I always said that I'll just mix myself. And then I realized I'm like, wait, now I have the ability to mix people. And also, if there's all this competition, well, what if I turned all that competition into, not to say that I view customers this way, but, you know, revenue. Like, it's like, if there's so many people trying to make music, then there must be so many people to help.
Yes.
So if I stop being their competition and instead I start being their teammate, then I'll actually be able to do this for a living. You know, like this is actually something I can tackle. That's really exciting. So that's when I decided I was like, and then I actually noticed that I'm not always in the mood for making music, but mixing audio is really fun.
Yeah.
And when I'm working with people, even if it's not my own music, even if it's music that not necessarily something I normally listen to on my own, I really enjoy mixing their audio. And like, you know, and I also get to be another creative mind. Lots of times they ask me for advice, they ask for opinions. Sometimes I'll say something like, oh, why don't you take this syllable out because it'll sound cleaner? And they'll be like, oh, thanks, you know, and we'll have a good time and whatnot. And yeah, it's really fun being part of that creative process. It makes more sense financially.
Yeah.
And it is just as fun.
Okay, here's one. What's something that artists do that drives you crazy, even though you still love them as customers and all of that?
I'd say the number one thing is they expect you to know their lingo. Like everyone has a different recording lingo, right? And some people's lingo is really twisted. Like it's so wrong. So they'll say something like, whenever they say run it back, they'll mean like they want to hear it again.
Yeah. That's what I would think.
Yeah, well, what I would think is run it back means retry.
Well, yeah, that's one that deserves some clarification before you go recording over the last take, right?
And sometimes it's something that sounds really obvious. They'll be like, redo. And then they'll be like, I wanted to hear it again. And I'm like, what? Or vice versa. They'll be like, all right, let me hear it. And then I'll play it back and they'll be like, no, I meant restart it or something like that. And they're like, I meant like, let me hear the beat. Like, that's what I say when I restart. I want to say, let me hear it. All right, I didn't like that one. Let me hear it.
Yeah.
Like they have like some weird lingo. I sound like I'm exaggerating. I am not exaggerating. I'm being for real. They sometimes have lingo that's so twisted and backwards that I have no idea. And I try to get them to explain it. I'm like, so what do you mean when you say that?
Maybe they're correct and you're twisted and backwards.
Yeah,
man.
maybe.
I'm just putting that out there.
Well, you know, JJ, to bring it back to him, he actually made a sheet. I really need to download the sheet and start bringing it to my sessions. It's a sheet that's a translation for all recording language, and you give it to the client.
God.
And so like
that's kind of brilliant. Actually.
Yeah. It's like a recording language sheet. It'll be like, I want the vocals to sound more saucy or something like that, and then he'll put translation, possibly reverb, compression, blah blah blah. Like
chorus, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I might regret asking this question.
I hope you do.
What's the wildest or funniest session you've been part of?
Wildest or funniest session? So the ones I enjoy the most are always like bachelorette parties. Like I'll get a session where it's like a cipher pretty much between 8 women.
Yeah.
And it's either one of their birthdays or it's like one of them. Last time one of them got married.
Yeah.
Sam was actually in the other room doing the other half of them. Okay, recording the other half of them.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it was so much fun.
Oh, I bet.
They're all laughing, they're all teasing me, they're all having a fun, they're all like shaking it and taking turns recording. And I actually they were doing a rap song, and at the end of the session, they were like, oh, we have 30 minutes left, we don't know what to do. And I was like, you want to pull a prank on the other girls? And they were like, okay. And I was like, I downloaded a bluegrass song. And I put this country music, and I said, go on ChatGPT and have it generate a country hick hop verse for you. And all of them took turns going like, on my brand new boots, like on the country song. It was so funny. We were all dying laughing.
Great prompt, by the way. Yeah. You know, that's the art of the prompt. Hick hop. That's great.
That was awesome. That was so much fun.
Yeah, finally, it seems like a lot of fun is being had. Although sometimes, you know, customers can be really focused on their work, and then that's like a serious session. But yeah, I dig it, man. Okay, how did you end up? We're moving on to the next question. I just read from the list here, Alek, but I'm absorbed. I'm
your old
enthralled.
Bronchosaurus memory isn't what it used to be.
I don't even know what a Bronchosaurus is, but you know. But anyways, how did you end up working here with us?
Fun fact, I actually, I maybe you remember at first, what I first said to you was a bit of an alarm. So I was working in the room and I was thinking like, man, I have this room now and it's not my house. So obviously I can have clients now, but I wanted to make sure it's okay. So I called the front and I spoke to you and I was just like, hey, can I charge people to come and record in my room? And you're like, So we have a policy. Do you want to say the policy real quick? Because you know better than me.
I mean, we have our own engineering sessions, of which
Yeah.
you and Mr. Producer are engineers. In those studios, folks can't be doing their own sessions. It's complicated, but
Can't be running a business through a
That's it.
business. Exactly. Yeah. And I didn't even think about that. I wasn't really thinking about it at all. I'm glad I asked instead of did it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, I'm like, yeah, this is a whole business and these rooms are for renting to make your own music, not to start a business in a business. You don't go and work at Starbucks and then start selling like donuts on the side at Starbucks.
Yeah.
So you're like, no, we do not do that, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, can I be an engineer here? And like literally, I'm pretty sure I said that immediately in response. You were busy and things were busy, and I kept spam calling. I definitely harassed y'all a lot. Like I kept going. Like I was determined. After a while, you were just like, I'm not sure exactly what was going through your mind.
that's how both you guys got in here. I'm like, who the fuck are these people that just keep calling? I'm like, these guys are pretty cool.
Please,
Let's do it.
Let me work.
I know. Okay, so let me ask you this. Outside of engineering, besides, turning the occasional trick behind the Papados dumpster or something, what hobbies are you into?
So I like a lot of different things. So I think the biggest one outside of music is Smash Ultimate.
Nice.
I go to tournaments and I play competitively. For anyone who plays Smash, I play Robin Minmin. I know. And I...
No one knows.
Anyone who plays and watches
No one knows.
But you don't know. But like, you main Bronchosaurus. But anyways...
Everyone knows Smash, whatever that thing was you just said, but keep going.
But and I go to these tournaments. I've gone to majors, which is like really big tournaments out of state. I actually hosted a tournament in Vietnam. It was the biggest tournament in Vietnam.
That's right. You were there for a while. So you and also you're a bit of a world traveler. Done Vietnam and Russia too.
Yeah, Russia, China, all the countries around the Gulf, Mexico, most of the countries in Europe. Yeah, and so I love playing Smash. I love my ukuleles and my bass ukulele. It's like a bass the size of a ukulele.
Very cool.
And it's awesome. It's rubber strings actually, so it's super cool. Yeah, and I also love car stuff. Actually, last Friday, so about a week ago, I went to HMP, Houston Motorsports Parkway, driveway, and I drove my GTO there, and I drag raced some people, and I actually got footage on my GoPro, which I'll be putting on YouTube soon. So
nice.
Yeah, it's super cool, and sometimes I'll just go there to like practice using my camera, taking photos of the cars, filming them, and it's really freaking cool. And that's another hobby I've gotten into recently, photography and cinematography, which is because of this, like we started doing podcasting.
And also 3D printing. I mean, look at...
That's another hobby, yes.
We've got these wonderful trophies here, these awards for...
the cipher we're doing today.
The cipher we're doing, which is going to be great. All of our engineers and our beautiful artists will be just spitting some bars, man.
Yeah, and everyone who spits one will get one of these, so...
Yeah.
Should be exciting.
You really do get a trophy just for showing up on this one. Well, no, not just showing
participation
up.
award. Participation award. Because I spelled participation wrong.
I wouldn't say you spelt it wrong. I'd say the autocorrect kind of screwed you, actually.
Yeah. Oh, well. Either way.
So just so everyone knows, he misspelled participant. But beautiful, though. This is really cool. And so this is one of your deals too.
Yeah, lots of stuff. I also play airsoft at Tanks Airsoft and Paintball. And,
I've never done that, man.
It's good exercise. It's good exercise, yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of things I like to do, but I mean, those are like the main ones, I'd say.
So really let's talk about equipment choices, software, really. What's your favorite DAW?
Logic Pro X. The reason for that is because, like, they say Pro Tools is like the best DAW. Well, Logic Pro X is basically Pro Tools while skipping steps. The reason I say that is because or
more like eliminating unnecessary steps.
Yeah, like so for example, if you create a send to a bus on a track in Pro Tools, so Logic is the layout is the same as Pro Tools. But in Pro Tools, if you create a send to a bus, you then have to create the bus. You then have to route the send to the bus. In Logic, when you create a send to a bus, it automatically creates a bus and the send to it. All you got to do is just click on it and it creates it all.
Yeah.
Now, 99.9% of the time, that's what you want. It is true that like 0.001% of the time, maybe you didn't want to do that and you wanted to do some weird, complicated, fancy-smancy shit with your DAWs,
Yeah.
But most of the time, you just want the training wheels, like most of the time, and it saves so much time. So like technically, it's like, oh well, what if you didn't want to do that? Pro Tools allows you to do more. I'm just like, never once in my life have I not wanted a bus when I create a bus send. So to me, Logic is just, it's easier to use, it's faster. It's just an easier to use Pro Tools, and it's I love the layout. It's very easy to use.
It feels like, it used to be really dominated by Pro Tools. Avid, is that the parent company?
Yeah,
Avid.
Pro Tools,
Yeah. You know, I was at a session last night. I was telling y'all we got out like really late, 4 a.m. or whatever. But the engineer producer is a big Logic guy, but he's using Luna. Do you know Luna?
No.
It's the Universal Audio. You know Universal Audio. It's their DAW.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it looked good, but there's a lot of things a lot of people really like about it. I don't know. I've been using Studio One, which is now Fender Studio Pro, and for guitars. Well,
that change really got me by surprise.
Yeah, but I will say when I went to NAMM, I talked to the guys there that have been with Studio One forever, and they're like, "Trust us, this is a good thing. We have double the amount of engineers." And right off the bat, I have the monthly subscription. So this is a plug. I'm not sponsored by them at all. But so I just updated it, and it like came with their whole package of like guitar, bass amp. So all these additional plugins. They have a beautiful reverb that they've added to it. So I don't know. I think it's great, but it's just mostly it's great that there's a lot more players in there, and it's not just Pro Tools kind of owning it. And so, you know, they borrowed a couple things from Ableton too. So anyways, I'm just rambling about that. But,
but Logic, I love it. And my own shameless plug, because I have a similar thing as you. I use Slate Digital, which is the same idea as that. It's like a monthly subscription.
Oh.
It has all of my favorite plugins. It has a whole guitar amp bundle as well, like famous amps and whatnot. But my favorite thing from Slate Digital is this plugin called Fresh Air, which is like a parallel compressor. It basically adds in like a top-end sizzle. Like, you know how Drake has that like top end to him? Yeah. That's what Fresh Air does. And every time I add that to a client, they're just like, "Oh, you got me sounding good," you know?
Is it just like basically like an Avalon clone or something, or
yeah, something like that. It just adds that top end sizzle. It's like parallel saturated compression pretty much, and it's so good.
Okay, what headphones do you prefer? Monitors, if any, unless you're just like,
So I used to be more of a like elitist on what things I use, but the more and more you do music, the more you realize that all equipment is very similar. It's really reliability that I'm looking for and like ease of use. But okay, so I'll start with headphones. I use Beyerdynamics, the limited edition 770s.
I believe that's what I have.
Yeah, they're very great. They're very nice. I like to use them to watch movies as well. But when I'm mixing, I actually find that it works best to mix with AirPods if I'm doing an over-the-internet mix, because that's what most people hear music on. So I'll still check them with my really expensive headphones.
You got to do the car listen. You got to do all this stuff.
But you got to keep in mind that the Apple headphones are the best representation of the average listener. So, I mean, at the end of the day, your mix matters the most on that. So I always check all my mixes with Apple headphones.
Yeah.
And then, so I use my AirPods, my AirPod Pros. I use my Beyerdynamics. I also use my car with my FM transmitter.
Yeah.
And I use these Mackie, I can't even remember what they're called, but they're 8-inch Mackies.
Okay.
Those are in my house. And I also have 3-inch or 2.5-inch, 3.5-inch Yamahas.
Oh, cool.
Those are pretty cool. And I just kind of use those on the other side of the room. Right now, they're with like my 3D printer setup. But what I really care about is my mic and my interface in my room. I have an SM7DB, which I think in these studios where we have these like super soundproof booths, I prefer to use our dynamic mics, which we use those Warm Audios. Mm-hmm. What was it, the Warm Audio?
47
Junior.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go Warm Audio.
I would, yeah, they're awesome. I would prefer, and it's funny because someone was just telling me about how awesome they are before I started working here, so
yeah,
there you go. I prefer those in the studio booths, but if you're in your bedroom and your stuff isn't treated, I don't think there will ever be a better mic than the SM7DB or the SM7B with the cloud lifter, same thing. And I use that, and I use an Audient ID14. They make these interfaces. It's kind of similar to the SM7DB where they are really good at hiding noise. So for my bedroom setup, having that Audient ID14 and my SM7DB, I'm just perfect. Love it.
Beautiful. Yeah, so many great products out there. It's just a great time to be in music because there's just so much good equipment at our disposal. Okay, analog or digital? Big debate in the guitar world for sure because, but go ahead.
If I'm working with a client, I'd prefer digital. If I'm working by myself, I prefer audio. Well, honestly, I think I prefer analog in both, actually. So it depends on what analog. I want half of it to be analog. So reverb and certain special effects, hell no. I do not want that to be analog. But compression, EQ.
Why? Why don't you want it to be?
So reverb is kind of something that has to be adjusted a lot. I mean, you have to sometimes adjust EQ and compression, but once you get it dialed in, you're dialed in. Reverb, it's an effect. It's an opinion. It's more of an opinion than compression and EQ is. I feel like you want to be able to adjust that afterwards. If I could have my dream recording setup, I would have my mic running into an EQ, I'd run it into a preamp, like a tube preamp, then an EQ, and that's dialed in perfectly for my voice, and then a compressor that's not too heavy, but just kind of stopping me, kind of brick walling me a little bit from the tops. Then I'd run that into my DAW, and I'd use like maybe another compressor, some minor EQ tweaking, and all the effects like auto-tune, reverb. I love analog compressors. I think that, truthfully, you don't need analog for anything, but the one argument I could say is a compressor, because compressors can stop you from clipping.
There's so many good, UA has so many good digital compressors.
Yeah, but you're still getting compressed after your audio wave goes into the DAW.
Yeah.
So if you do that and I I yell, I mean, this actually has a compressor on it, but
that wasn't necessary, but yeah.
Yeah. If I yell into the mic, and it's going into the DAW before the compression, then the distortion will still be there before the compression. The distortion will still be there. But if I have a compressor that the mic is going into before the DAW, it stops it. And that's like the one thing that I could argue for analog gear is compressors. Especially if you have a client that's not very good at using the microphone. Like they just want to scream and then be quiet out of nowhere. You want to control them a bit.
Interesting. Okay. Dream artist to work with?
I want to say Lou Bega, but I think Kreia Sean would be a lot of fun.
Sam, you know who these folks are?
Most people don't. I'm going to say Lou Bega. Yeah, I'm going to say Lou Bega because he's a great guy, but I have no idea what he's like to work with. I don't know if he would be the most fun to work with necessarily, but the thing is I've listened to Lou Bega since I was a kid. That's my childhood artist, and his songs, they hit me away. Whenever I hear everyone else, all the other rappers and singers and rock artists, I think, oh, this is rock music. Oh, this is rap music. Oh, this is dubstep. When I hear Lou Bega, my mind just says this is music. It is the most pure form of music I can listen to. I love it so much. It's so happy. It really brings me up. So I think just for my own personal bucket list, I would say Lou Bega would be my dream artist to work with.
Fair enough. I will have to verify that. I wish I could comment. One plugin you can't live without.
Fresh Air EQ, Slate Digital Fresh Air. Yeah.
Love it.
I haven't been able to find anything that could replicate that. My favorite compressors, they could be replicated. Everything can be replicated, but no matter how hard I try to do raw, using buses and whatnot to do parallel compression or other plugins, I just cannot get it to sound like Fresh Air.
Yeah, these plugins make it so easy for us these days.
Yeah.
Alek, you rock, man. Where can people tap in with you?
So you can go to MC Galvy on Instagram, just MCGALVY.
Yep.
You could also do that with a underscore in between the MC and the Galvy if you go on Twitter. Twitter is where I do Smash stuff, Super Smash Bros. Stuff. That's where the community is. Instagram is where you're going to find me if you're trying to do music or podcasting, stuff like that.
Cool.
You can find me on the Band Barracks page.
Hell yeah.
Which we still need to update my goofy photo.
No, it stays, man.
My dad hates it. Every time he sees it, he's just like, "Did you tell Curran to update the photo yet?" I'm like, it's literally me going like this. I'm like,
I'm sorry, Mr. Tiller. We'll get this damn thing taken care of. If someone wants to book a session, what do they do?
So they go to bandbarracks.com. They go to book an engineer.
Yep.
And they click on Aleksander Tiller or our podcast engineer today, Sam,
Yep.
or Mark Bird, or
Sam
Judson.
Borello, Mark Bird, Judson, yes.
Yep. And let's just say me, for example, they click on Aleksander Tiller, and then they can click on book a recording session or a podcast session.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I think right now it doesn't matter which one you click, you'll still get all the rooms. Like all the rooms will pop up, whichever one you want to click, and it'll say 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hour, 8 hour or something podcast session on the first two, and then below that it'll be all the recording rooms and recording session. So make sure you click on, if you want a recording session, make sure you have an eye for that and you click on recording session. And if you have a podcast session, you click on 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour podcast session. It'll tell you the room and the block rate. And then my calendar is linked to the website. One of my favorite parts about this job. You don't have to ask me. You don't have to hit me up on Instagram if you don't want to. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. You don't have to talk to anyone. My calendar is linked to it. If it says you can book me, then 99.999999999% of the time,
It's accurate,
you
yeah.
can book me.
Yep.
Unless I get hit by a car.
Yeah.
So-
Which ain't going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Come on. All right, we're talking about the Cypher now. But y'all can book Alek. You can book our great producer over here, Sam,
Yep.
and any of the engineers. Not trying to plug Band Barracks too hard with everything.
Yeah.
But, hey, man, we're in it. So let's talk about this, man. We like to do events with our community because they're fun, because we like to hear people's artistic takes, whatever, man. I don't know why we do it. It feels like the thing to do. But why don't
community.
We're a community. So why don't you talk about the Cypher that we got and how you can be a participant?
So, we're doing a Cypher today, and it is booked out, but not to worry. We are doing Cyphers in the future as well. We're doing all sorts of events in the future. Basically, I think it was 10 or 15 rappers signed up, and we're doing a Cypher. What a Cypher is, if you don't know what a Cypher is it's one rap beat with a bunch of people on it. So, like, say it's like 10 people in one song, all taking turns doing, like, the best verse they can.
Yep.
And whenever they come in, we take photos of them, videos of them, and they all take turns spitting on the mic, and they're also getting this participation award.
Spitting bars, not spitting on the mic.
Yeah. Yeah, do not spit on our mics. Yeah, and basically everyone's taking turns doing their best rhymes. It's all for free. No one's being charged for it. They're all coming in and having a good time, and we're giving out waters and stuff. And it's gonna be a really fun time. I can't wait. It's really just an event saying thank you to the community because we love everyone that comes through here, and we're very thankful for everyone who comes through here. And we want to
Amen.
be able to host events for y'all to not just bring y'all here, but also to say thank you. So I'm really excited for the one tonight. It's going to be fun. Rather it's 100 people or just one single person. I'm always excited for the events. So yeah, it's going to be a really fun Cypher, and we are going to do more in the future. So please, make sure you also follow Band Barracks. Follow me, follow Band Barracks, follow Sam. I repost a lot of the stuff we do at Band Barracks, and you'll stay updated with the events we do because you don't got to spend a dime for these events. You just come through and you have fun with us. So
That's it, man. Alek, dude, thanks, brother.
yes, sir.
Appreciate you, man. Snakes in the studio.
Snakes in the studio.
Episode 2. It might be episode 1. We don't even know.
I want to make like a little jingle, like a 5-second jingle with my ukulele, and at the start of every episode, we're like, snakes in the studio. It'd be really funny.
We're doing it.
And then I just like throw the ukulele to the side and we start talking.
We're doing it.
We'll do it next
So y'all can look out for that next time.
Yes,
Maybe I'll bring in the guitar or something like that.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Alek, you rock, man. We're gonna post some stuff tonight, folks. So check it out. The Cypher's going down. It's gonna be great, and look forward to seeing what some of our community can rhyme and what they can cook up. So it's gonna be dope.
We're going to rock with it.
Thanks, brother. All right, peace.
Peace out.
Peace.